Welcome back to our Blasian Travelers channel. In this video, we have a whirlwind of emotions, from happiness to sadness. Let's start with day one of volunteering. Overall, the time was really great. We're back now. Didn't take too many videos. We took some photos. I posted that on my Instagram. So if you follow us on Blasian Travelers, or if you're one of my personal friends and you follow me on Facebook, you've seen some of the stuff. So go check that out. But didn't want to be invasive of the kids. I feel uncomfortable already recording adults and kids. It's like a privacy thing as well. And just making sure that nothing bad happens to the kids. So once we started seeing some of them take photos and videos, we took a few, but didn't want to take too much. I was able to play sports with some of the kids, play ping pong. They destroyed me. Even like the 7-8-year-olds, like they play that like religiously, so they're really good. I play basketball. I didn't destroy them, but I put in a little bit of work, so they were like, oh, you're really good and stuff like that. Just really doing some crazy assists so that they can be the stars and stuff like that. Kat taught English. Her teacher was like sick or absent, or both of those probably. And so they was like, oh, you want to lead the lesson? So she was just leading an English class, teaching kids, I don't know what. But she did that. Overall, we had lunch with them, taught, not communicated. Overall, we had lunch with them, we hung out with them, we got to know them, take photos. There was a Nigerian kid that was like, oh, hey, whatever. And there was another kid that was like an artist, and he was actually really good at drawing. I'm like, you drew this like house? It was a really nice drawing. And then the Nigerian kid, he was like, some of those people think you're my dad or whatever. He spoke full on Khmer, which is kind of interesting. He was like, oh, I was born here, but my dad says I'm Nigerian. He was black, but he was in the mix, hanging out with all them Cambodian kids and all of that, speaking Cambodia, speaking English, and I'm pretty sure he speaks, I think it's Igbo or whatever the main Nigerian language is. But overall, it was good. We're back now. Like I said, we're about to go grab some dinner. Kat found a Korean barbecue spot, so let's check it out. So we arrived in Odong village. It was about a 45-minute bus ride from the Phnom Penh city center. And now we just make our way. We couldn't fit all the way in by bus because the bus is obviously big and it's a dirt road. So we got out on somewhat of the main road. It's like a secondary road. And we're just making our way to the first stop. Whole bunch of chickens and dogs. And kiddos, of course. So this older gentleman is one of the liaisons for the village. He works with T in the yellow hat from our church to help organize between the NGOs and the village. And he's actually one of the few in the village that have HIV. I shouldn't say a few because it's quite a bit, but they just had a doctor come out. He is starting to get caught up with the side effects from the medicine and HIV, so he couldn't tour us around, so he just filled us in, and then we continue with T for the rest of the tour. Like, poverty in countries like this does not compare to like the Western world, where even if you're in poverty, you still have governmental assistance and can get food and shelter. Like shelter that's brick and insulated and has AC. But here's one of the houses our church helped build. So we are touring a village right now. You can hear like roosters around us. You can see the people behind us. But this is a village that was set up by one of our sister churches in Cambodia that we are trying to connect to right now. And we just came from one of the houses that our church gave to and built with funds through fundraising and stuff like that. So hello. Hey. The kids are running by. Bye. Hello. And so we just came, and these villagers, they were forced to move here. They didn't move here on purpose. They were forced to move here in 2011, 2012. Most of them had no money, no food. Even till today, they have to bus in the morning or get a ride to the main area, which is about an hour away. And then at night, they come back and then wake up in the morning, probably 6 hours later, to do it again. So the house that we just went to, it took like $2,000 to build. But what did you think about this experience?
I would say, one, it's humbling, and two, I think it's crazy to see just how happy all these people are and just how grateful and thankful they are. And I think I'm just speechless. I don't really have exact words to say. I'm just so grateful that we got a chance to just be here and be present and give our hearts as well. But yeah, I'm a little speechless, I would say. How about you?
Yeah, it's crazy because most of these houses are tin. Most of them don't have electricity. Some of them have electricity now where they can just run a fan and maybe a electric heater, kettle. But most of them are open and they get well water. There's 2 wells here. Only one of them works right now. And then a lot of them really collect just rainwater to provide for themselves. But it's just a crazy experience with everything they've been through, all the challenges. And I think there are 143 families started this village. And right now there's like 80 something because the rest of them moved out and stuff like that. But there are a lot of people here who are like grandparents, 70 years old, raising 8 and 6 years old. And their parents maybe come by once every 6 months to drop off like a bag of rice or something like that. There's about, out of those 83 families, 86 families, I forgot how many exactly, about, I'm trying to get the lighting, about 20 of them have HIV. And so there's a big battle with that because the ones that have HIV can't really work because they're battling their sickness, and it's a lot of men. And apparently in like the late 90s there was an HIV outbreak. I don't know how it happened. Maybe it was just improper medical care and they didn't really know. You know, the same thing kind of happened in the U.S., especially in the Black community. So I do know a little bit about that history. I don't know how it happened here, but so they're battling that, and there's people here who have been that passed away pretty quickly, and there are people here that have been living with it for 20 years. They got the medicine, but right now the medicine is starting to have long-term effects, so they can't really walk, they can't really work, just like the first guy from the beginning. So yeah, we're gonna just show you some more and then make our way. I think they're calling us now.
Yeah, they are.
So we are making our way back. It is so hot right now. It has to be like 100 degrees. And the humidity is probably like 200% or something like that. We were taking photos. They were trying to take like 20, 30 photos. I'm like, all right, we just got to walk away because they're going to keep taking photos. And one thing about Asians, they love photos, especially the Filipinos we got with us.
So we are about to make our way up a mountain, but first we decided let's just have some food with the locals, the local way. So sitting crisscross. The fried snakehead fish was good. The veggies was good too. The chicken was a little bit chewy, but it was a good time being able to hang out with some of the locals and eat some local cuisine from the restaurant. Talk to some of our church members and so. And good thing we started because it started pouring for like an hour and a half.
It's okay. Everything smells so good right now. Oh, it's like honey or something. I haven't been to the night market when it's wet like this in so long. No. Oh, they got like an umbrella. Hold on. I'm so tempted to eat this chicken right now. Shoot, this looks so good. It's so glazed up. If you ever go to a market in Southeast Asia, you will always find meat on a stick. It's always so good, whether it's fish, pork, or beef. All right, we gotta... This is a popular market. So many people. What are we doing?
We're going shopping.
Wait, you guys aren't gonna walk all the way straight? Oh, okay. All right. We're about to climb up the mountain. Since majority voted, I'm super excited. Oh, these are the ants. No. I'm not trying to complain, but man, it is so hot right now. I don't want to climb.
1, 2, 3.
I can see the light. Alright, that hike might have been worth it for these views.
We made it, finally. We got some locals fanning us. It is hot out here and it's still raining. Look at this view though, it's beautiful.
church and the rest of the day. We got back about an hour later, and then we just rested. I was trying to work out. I wanted to rest a little bit. None of that happened because we ended up having to meet up our church later so that we can celebrate some people, give some awards, have some good food, and have this amazing dance party afterwards. When in Asia, right? Day three consisted of a small info session about the orphanage, followed by some time to hang out with the kids, and then we proceeded to have church service with some of the kids and some of the locals sang songs in Khmer, and then we had some English songs, and then we had church lessons. So we did not force any kids that didn't want to be a part of it to join the service. If they wanted to, they could, or they could just be outside, followed by time to hang out with the orphans, and then lunch.
Kenny, why are you walking like that?
The boy is high.
Oh. I wanted to quickly just tell you guys kind of like what we just did. We went to go visit the orphanage here in Cambodia. It was such an amazing experience to meet the kids, as well as just give time to them. But yeah, we got a chance to have lunch with them, have church service with them. It was an amazing experience. Kenny, what did you think?
I think it was a good experience. So yeah, I think it was a good experience. We got to learn about the orphanage, learn about the kids, play some sports with them, sing some songs, all of that stuff. But it was really great. And you know, after going to the village yesterday and the orphanage today, and just seeing just the impact
needs
that we can have in their lives, the needs and stuff like that, it is crazy. Just wanting to be able to, you know, teach English classes, even if it's Zoom, or just even help them with PE and sports.
Yeah.
Just learning that some of the kids, even at the Goldstone School and even at the CSW orphanage, like, they're really talented. They love playing sports, but wanting to kind of help them get better in the athleticism and whatever. So there's that, and then there's also helping the kids with English as well, so they can exceed in society and in business. It really motivates me to see ways that I can give and serve in that way. And you know, Absolutely. If you have any ideas or if you want to support yourself, please feel free to reach out, put comments in this video.
Yeah.
We'll try to post links to their websites if they have them and stuff.
Exactly.
So we just made it to this park. I don't know if you can hear, but I just walked to that tree right there, and I thought it was some birds, right? So we saw two birds that look like hornbills. I was like, oh, what are geese doing all the way over there? Then when they landed on the tree, I was like, oh, those are hornbills. When I look closer, they look like regular toucans and parrots because they didn't have the little thing at the top. But when I got close enough, I realized that they were actually giant bats. So I'm gonna show a video right now of what they look like, but they're huge. Like, the bat's wingspans are probably like 4 feet long. Like, those are some vampire bats. Like, the wings, you can see that it looks like the Batman logo. But now we're in this park right here that's Wat Nam historical site, and it's $1 entry for foreigners. For people who are from here, it's free. But we're about to walk around, go visit some things. So we just made it to this like famous area, photo taking spot at the park. We got a lot of people around us. We got some monks. Looks like they're shooting like content or something. There's like a parade street back there, I don't know. But just look at this cool little clock garden thing.
I was actually surprised how the clock actually works and it's moving, as you can see. Yeah, I've never seen a clock this big before.
It's actually the minute, the second I should say,
yeah,
and it's actually moving. It does work. So we are a little bit from the city center, but it's actually pretty crazy here. Like, you can hear the honks and stuff all around. totally different vibe than Siem Reap. There's a lot more cars, a lot more motorcycles here. This is pretty congested, actually. It's not as congested as like Bangkok or Ho Chi Minh or Vietnam and most of the populated areas, but it is a lot more congested than in Malaysia when we were there, and then also in Siem Reap, the other part of Cambodia we were at when we first came here. We have made it back. All right, just showered, had to go back home and shower real quickly after we just went for a walk because playing them sports with them kids had me sweating all day, so I needed to get out of it. Was actually thinking about going to the gym, but I'm actually pretty tired, and we're about to meet with some of the local people from Cambodia in our church, and I have to sacrifice the gym today because I don't really have too much time to actually meet with them. But it is really hot in Cambodia. I got blisters on the bottom of my feet. Yeah. So yeah, dinner is great, and here's the lovely families. We are getting off the bus right now to head into the museum. So today's the field trip day, which is all about learning about the history of the Cambodian people and the Khmer Rouge. So the first stop is To Slong Genocide Museum, and as you can see here, this is just some of the images of people who actually were trapped here and tortured and killed, and some of the devices, how they looked, some representations from artists, and just a lot of craziness. And it was honestly, it's hard for a lot of people. It was hard for Kat. A lot of the women I saw walking around were just tearing up just because. Just read some of these stories. Pause this if you can and just read the story if you didn't and have or can't get the chance to go there for yourself and learn about it. But it wasn't just Cambodian people, it was any foreigners that was trapped here during the Khmer Rouge time, but especially the locals. So To Slong Museum was actually S21 prison, which was one of the biggest in Cambodia, but it was recently turned into a museum for people to learn. So this whole situation is crazy because I think it's on another level than people that just come and visit as tourists, because we're with our church. And there's a lot of people who have left Cambodia, but who have gone through these things and are able to talk to us. So me and my wife just got talking to one of like the pastors at one of the churches in Australia, and he was just telling us about his story, about him being a kid, and he wasn't at this prison. We're at a prison right now, but he was in the countryside, and he had to go through this whole thing as a, from 3 to 9 years old, right? It's the 5 years, so 3 to 8, and then the 1 year before he left, and just telling us his story. Or some of my friends back at home that have coached and mentored us, like they were 3, 4 when this happened. And coming to this church and speaking to people that were 9, 10, 11, 12, it's just crazy hearing the stuff that they went through. And it's different when you know people who have actually gone through some of this traumatic stuff. It's way different. And I feel like you need to watch the movie. I think when they killed my father, I think Angelina Jolie wrote it or directed it or something like that, because she adopted 2 Cambodian children. I think everybody should watch that movie and learn about the culture and the history here. And then when you come here, you can see how grateful the people are, how accepting, how warm they are, even though they might have a little bit of hatred, it's still in their heart. And you would never expect that from going through such a traumatic event where half the population was killed in about a span of 5 years. But even out here, there's like survivors selling books, talking about their story. And I've never really been to a museum where I've seen survivors. Right, some of these survivors were kids during the time, some of them were 17, 18 during the time, and barely made it out alive because they had a skill that could be used by the army. One of the survivors talked about how, in his book, and it was a quote, he was talking to other people, obviously he speaks only Khmer, But in his book, he mentioned how he wouldn't even blame the people he understands, he relates to them, the people that were doing the killing, right? Not the higher up leaders, but the soldiers, because he's like, I don't know what I would have done in that predicament, right? If I was told I have to kill these people or I'll be killed, he says he doesn't know what he would do. He would probably have gone through with it. And that's something that all of us, say, we won't do this, we won't do this, until you get into that position and you're forced to make a choice. Save your life, save your family life, or take someone else's. And I feel like that's humbling, and that's probably super hard for him to realize that. Unfortunately, a lot of people have gone through so much and have suppressed it, like with most cultures. All right, my wife is Asian, and we see it in her culture, her family, where it's like, don't talk about it, don't bring it up. Even Black people culture, we just can say, forget the past, it's okay. And especially when it's something traumatic like this, you just suppress it, lock it up in a box, keep it inside, and then keep going. But honestly, there's probably so many people here that are still hurting and suffering and haven't really experienced their true self because they've locked something deep down inside that they don't want to talk about, they don't want to bring up, they don't want to revisit, because it's will cause some things, cause more hurt. So it's just crazy to think that, like, I have so many friends that have gone through this, still have unhealed scars, unhealed wounds. And then I'm just so grateful for the people who have been open and have talked to us about the experience of being in a prison, being out in the countryside in a camp, or losing family members, losing parents, losing siblings, getting separated from siblings, stuff like that. Like, it's just crazy. So this just keeps getting crazier and crazier. So I think it started around 1963, the Khmer Rouge or whatever, but they took power in 1975. So between 75 and 78, 79 is when they did all of the mass genocide and everything. The crazy thing is, obviously they were taken over in 1989, people were freed, but some of these people didn't get arrested till 2007. The leader, Pol Pot, retired in 88, 87, which means he was still the leader of the Khmer Rouge 12 years after the release, right? No, 87, 88, so 12 years after it started the killing, but it was about 9 years after, freedom. But they didn't get arrested till 2007. That's 15 years ago. That's a whole, 28 years after the United Nations and everybody freed the people here. So 27 years after is when some of these key figures were arrested. It's crazy. Crazy thing is there are hundreds and hundreds, maybe thousands of photos of people that have been in here. You got pictures of bones and the pile when they were cleaning and everything. This is just crazy, right? You have chains on the floor. I don't know if you can see those over there. The chains are still there, like right there. So I learned in the little museum section that there was actually a map in one of those rooms with the skulls that was the shape of Cambodia. So they actually used the skulls that were in that cabinet to make a map of Cambodia itself. And then in the 2000s somewhere, a committee asked them to tear it down and to cremate it. They decided to tear it down but not to cremate it, and they set it up in there. The Buddhist monks actually set it up in a way that will pay respect, because they figured that most of the people would have been Buddhists. So I was reading this, and this is the win-win policy, and it talks about how there was, after 1979, there was still war and stuff happening until the 90s. Right? The Khmer Rouge still controlled some of the northern regions or the regions around the border, And I was wondering why they pardoned 2 of the top officials that were responsible for all this heinousness in the country. And it just talks about the reason they did that is because they wanted the Khmer Rouge that was still in charge of some of these border regions to surrender. Right? You have to think about it. There's a lot of soldiers there that fully bought in and realized that, hey, if we give up full control, we're going to be arrested, possibly killed, and then also put in jail. Some of the soldiers were probably thinking, like, I was ordered to do this to survive. I don't want to go to jail and face way worse criminals. I don't want to be, I did nothing wrong. And so they did surrender in 1998 after Pol Pot died. So it could have been that they just didn't have a leader. But so it says that the policy did work because it got those people that were still in charge of some of the borders to just surrender fully and for soldiers to release custody of everybody. These are all the survivors who like testified and gave quotes and stuff visiting the museum. So they have this little thing where people came and expressed what they felt and some thoughts. So the book is right here, and I'm actually going to write a few things in there real quick. I was able to put my name in the book, so leaving my mark. So it's just crazy that they decided to make a map out of skulls of at least 50 people. So we're still deciding if we're gonna go to the killing fields or not. Some of the other families went to a fancier restaurant, but you know us, we eat local. What are you eating?
Beef soup with noodles and skewers. Look at this juice. That flavor, it's like lemongrass with a little like chili sauce. Bomb.
So right now I'm actually in the killing fields. This was the site of the killing fields. Many of the buildings are not still up. There are some structures, but most of them are down. Behind me is actually a grave of like over 450 victims that they found. I don't know if they're still buried deep down there or they found them like still intact but dead and then just removed it. But yeah, it's just crazy because like there's a whole bunch of life here, a lot of trees and grass, but this is a place that people came and most didn't know at the time we're going to lose their life. Like,
the city can be seen through these trees.
So Kenny and I just finished going through the whole killing field here in Cambodia, and it's just crazy to see where the victims were murdered, and just the whole country of, they had 8 million people and 3 million people were killed and murdered, and you know, innocent men, women, children, babies. I have no words. I can't believe something like this happened and no one knew about it at that time, because they closed all the borders. As I was listening to the tour message, they were saying how, like, oh, and the lake that we were walking past earlier, they, like, the bodies are still under the lake, just for this victims to just go and be at peace. And it's also crazy to see like the things that was used. Guns were too expensive, so they weren't killed by guns. They were killed by axes, hammers, bamboo, sharp sticks, wood, like anything that was, they call it cheap killing because those things were cheap to buy for to murder all the victims with. Yeah, it's really crazy to be here, and at the same time learn about the history of what really happened. And it's not just like us watching a movie or reading books about this. It's like being here and being present. Yeah, it was a crazy experience, and I really hope that people get a chance to learn more about the Khmer Rouge, and come to places like this where it changes you. I don't know what to say, but yeah, I just wanted to come and kind of share my thoughts really quick. I'm still a little speechless, a little shaken, but yeah. It's raining so hard right now. I'm on my way to go get gifts for the Cambodian families that hosted us. I don't know if I'm gonna be late. Look at this rain. It's crazy out here. Look at the flood. I've never seen flood like this before, ever. I feel so bad for all the locals right now. This is crazy. It's crazy that this is very, very common during rainy season, and I've never seen flood like this before, ever in my lifetime. Not even in Laos when I was living there. This guy said, nope, I'm not going there. Let me turn around real quick.
Alrighty. Time for dinner and a view. Well, the boat is here, but we are still unsure of how many people are going to come due to all that flooding. So we'll see how it is.
We had an amazing time on the boat with our church family. We were able to say goodbye to our church family from the Philippines, Australia, and Cambodia. Our 4-day experience was pretty incredible, definitely life-changing. We got a chance to visit the Goldstone School, the village, the orphanage. The kids were so awesome and so giving, and my heart is just completely full. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching. I know that was a pretty long video of our recap of Cambodia, but if you like this video, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, as well as follow us on Blasian Travelers, Instagram, TikTok, and Threads. There's so many these days, but yeah. Thank you.